New Richmond, Quebec, Canada, January 23, 1921. Born into a large French-Canadian family, Leo was the eldest of 13 children in a working-class household. His father, Achille Major, worked as a railway laborer for the Canadian National Railway, a job that kept the family on the move and often in financial straits. Leo's early life was marked by hardship, frequent relocations, cramped living conditions, and the constant struggle to make ends meet in the shadow of the Great Depression. New Richmond, a small town nestled in the Gaspé Peninsula, offered little in the way of opportunity, but it instilled in young Leo a rugged independence and a fierce sense of loyalty to his family and community. From a young age, Leo displayed a rebellious streak. He clashed with his father, whose strict discipline and frequent absences due to work created tension at home. By age 14, Leo had had enough. He left school and struck out on his own, taking odd jobs as a lumberjack and farmhand in the harsh Canadian wilderness. These years honed his physical toughness. He learned to endure long hours in freezing temperatures, handle heavy tools, and survive in isolation. But beneath the rough exterior was a sharp mind. Leo was multilingual, fluent in French and English, and had a knack for mechanics and strategy, skills that would later prove invaluable on the battlefield. As the 1930s gave way to the 1940s, the world plunged into war. Canada, as part of the British Commonwealth, declared war on Germany in September 1939, just days after Britain's declaration. The call for volunteers echoed across the nation, and for many young men like Leo, it represented not just a duty, but an escape from poverty and a chance for adventure. In February 1940, at the age of 19, Leo enlisted in the Canadian Army, joining Le Régiment de la Chaudière, a French-speaking infantry unit from Quebec. His decision wasn't driven by grand patriotism alone. It was also a way to prove himself, to break free from his father's shadow, and to contribute to the family income through military pay. Basic training was grueling. At Valcartier Camp near Quebec City, Leo and his fellow recruits endured months of drills, weapons training, and physical conditioning. The Chaudière Regiment, part of the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division, was being prepared for overseas deployment. Leo excelled in marksmanship, earning a reputation as one of the unit's best shots with the Lee Enfield and Bren light machine gun. His superiors noted his fearlessness during live fire exercises and his ability to remain calm under pressure. But Leo's independent nature sometimes clashed with military discipline. He was known for questioning orders he deemed foolish, a trait that would both hinder and help him in the years ahead. By mid-1941, the regiment was shipped to England for further training. Leo arrived in Liverpool amid the Blitz, where German bombers pounded British cities nightly. The Canadians were billeted in southern England, drilling endlessly in preparation for the inevitable invasion of occupied Europe. Life in England was a mix of tedium and tension, endless parades, mock assaults on mock beaches, and the constant threat of air raids. Leo, like many Quebecois soldiers, faced cultural barriers. The English-speaking majority in the Canadian Army often marginalized the French Canadians, leading to tensions within units. But Leo bridged the gap with his bilingual skills, earning respect from both sides. As the war progressed, the Leo unit participated in various exercises, including the disastrous Dieppe raid in August 1942. Though the Chaudière Regiment wasn't directly involved in the landing, they provided support and witnessed the aftermath. Thousands of Canadian casualties returned to England, bloodied and defeated. The raid was a harsh lesson in amphibious warfare's dangers, reinforcing the need for better planning and overwhelming force. Leo, hearing stories from survivors, grew more determined, sharpening his skills in reconnaissance and close-quarters combat. In 1943, the Allies shifted focus to the Italian campaign, but Leo's division remained in England, training for what would become Operation Overlord, the D-Day invasion. Months of intense preparation followed: beach assault drills, live ammunition exercises, and coordination with American and British forces. Leo volunteered for sniper training, mastering the art of long-range shooting and stealth. His eyesight was exceptional, and he could hit targets at 500 yards with deadly accuracy. By early 1944, as the invasion loomed, Leo had risen to the rank of Private First Class, respected by his comrades for his bravery and quick thinking. June 6, 1944, D-Day. The 3rd Canadian Division was assigned to Juno Beach, one of 5 landing zones in Normandy. Leo's regiment was in the first wave. As their landing craft approached the shore under heavy German fire, shells exploded around them, machine guns raked the water, and men screamed as they were hit. The craft hit the beach, ramps dropped, and chaos ensued. Leo charged out, rifle in hand, dodging bullets and mortar fire. The sand was littered with bodies, barbed wire, and mines. German pillboxes poured fire down from the cliffs. Leo pushed forward with his platoon, clearing a machine gun nest single-handedly. He threw grenades into the bunker, silencing the gun, then provided covering fire for his advancing comrades. But the cost was high. Many in his unit fell. During the assault, a phosphorus grenade exploded near Leo, shards embedding in his back. The pain was excruciating, but he refused evacuation, insisting on staying with his men. As the Canadians secured the beachhead, Leo collapsed from blood loss and was finally taken to a field hospital. Doctors removed the shrapnel, but Leo's recovery was complicated by infection. He spent weeks in a British hospital, frustrated at being sidelined while his regiment pushed inland. By July, he was back in action, rejoining the Chaudière in the brutal fighting around Caen. The Normandy campaign was a meat grinder, hedgerow battles, close-range combat, and constant artillery. Leo distinguished himself in patrols, often volunteering for dangerous scouting missions behind enemy lines. In August 1944, during a night patrol near Falaise, Leo's unit ambushed a German SS convoy. In the fierce firefight, a grenade exploded near Leo's face, destroying his left eye. Blood pouring down his face, he continued fighting, killing several Germans before collapsing. Medics patched him up, but the eye was lost. Doctors recommended he be sent home as medically unfit, but Leo refused. "I can still shoot with one eye," he argued. "The other was just for looking." Against medical advice, he returned to his unit, wearing an eye patch that became his trademark. Leo's one-eyed status didn't slow him down. If anything, it fueled his legend. In September, as the Allies advanced through France, Leo led reconnaissance missions, sneaking into enemy territory to gather intelligence. His French fluency helped him communicate with local resistance fighters, coordinating sabotage operations against German supply lines. During one such mission near Boulogne, Leo captured a German officer single-handedly, dragging him back to Allied lines for interrogation. The intelligence gained helped capture the port intact. By October, the Chaudière Regiment entered Belgium, liberating towns from German occupation. Leo's bravery earned him the Distinguished Conduct Medal, DCM, one of the highest honors for non-commissioned officers. But he downplayed it, saying, "I just did my job." His real test came in the Netherlands, where the war's final months would cement him in history. The winter of 1944 to 1945 was harsh. The Allies pushed into the Netherlands, facing determined German resistance. Leo's platoon was tasked with clearing pockets of enemy holdouts. In February 1945, during fighting near the Scheldt estuary, Leo lost several close friends to a German ambush. The loss hardened him, driving him to take greater risks. April 1945. The war in Europe was nearing an end, but pockets of fierce fighting remained. The Chaudière Regiment approached the Dutch town of Zwolle, a strategic point with 50,000 civilians. Intelligence reported hundreds of German troops entrenched there, ready for a last stand. The plan was to bombard the town with artillery before assaulting, but this would cause massive civilian casualties and destroy the historic city. Leo and his friend Willie Arsenault volunteered for a reconnaissance mission to assess German strength. Under cover of darkness, they snuck into Zwolle. Tragedy struck early. Arsenault was killed by a German sentry. Enraged, Leo could have retreated, but instead he decided to liberate the town alone. Armed with a Sten gun, grenades, and unyielding determination, he stormed a German machine gun nest, killing 8 soldiers and capturing the rest. What followed was a one-man rampage. Leo moved through Zwolle like a ghost, firing bursts into the air to simulate a larger force, throwing grenades into buildings, and shouting in German to sow confusion. He captured a German officer, forcing him to reveal troop positions. Over the next hours, Leo attacked multiple positions, killing or capturing dozens. The Germans, convinced a large Canadian force had infiltrated, panicked and fled the town. By dawn, Zwolle was free, without artillery or reinforcement, and with minimal civilian damage. Leo returned to his unit, dragging 93 German prisoners. The town hailed him as a hero. The Dutch resistance confirmed no Germans remained. For this feat, Leo was recommended for another DCM, but he refused it, arguing the award should go to his fallen friend Arsenault. Instead, he accepted a bar to his existing DCM. The war in Europe ended in May 1945. Leo returned to Canada a hero, but civilian life didn't suit him. He struggled with his injuries, the lost eye caused chronic pain, and the psychological scars of war. He worked various jobs, but the adrenaline of combat was missing. In 1950, the Korean War erupted. At 29, Leo re-enlisted, joining the Royal 22nd Regiment, the Vendus. Shipped to Korea in 1951, he arrived during the brutal hill fighting. In November 1951, during the Battle of Hill 355, Little Gibraltar, Chinese forces overran UN positions. Leo's platoon was ordered to retake a key hill under heavy artillery fire. Despite a sprained ankle from a fall, Leo led the charge. Carrying 2 Sten guns, he charged enemy positions, firing relentlessly. He single-handedly cleared multiple trenches, killing over 20 Chinese soldiers. When ammunition ran low, he used captured enemy weapons. His actions inspired his men to push forward, recapturing the hill by dawn. For this, Leo received a second bar to his DCM, making him the only Canadian to earn the medal 3 times and one of only 3 in the Commonwealth to do so in 2 wars. He refused a battlefield commission, preferring to remain a sergeant. After Korea, Leo returned to Canada in 1953. He settled in Montreal, marrying Pauline in 1954 and raising 4 children. Civilian life was quiet. He worked as a mechanic and later in construction, but his war stories were shared only with close friends. The eye patch became his signature, a reminder of his sacrifices. In his later years, Leo's exploits gained recognition. In 1970, the Dutch honored him with a ceremony in Zwolle, naming a street after him. Canadian media profiled him as the one-eyed ghost of Zwolle. He remained humble, often saying, "I just did my job." Leo Major passed away on October 12, 2008, at 87. His funeral was attended by veterans, diplomats, and dignitaries from Canada and the Netherlands. Obituaries hailed him as Canada's greatest soldier, a man who embodied courage, independence, and humanity. His legacy endures. In Zwolle, annual ceremonies commemorate his liberation. In Canada, he is remembered as a Quebecois hero who fought for freedom across 2 continents. Leo Major's life was a testament to what one determined individual can achieve against overwhelming odds, a story of bravery that continues to inspire generations. After the war in Europe ended in May 1945, Leo Major returned to Canada as a decorated hero. He had lost his left eye, carried shrapnel scars across his back, and seen friends die in Normandy and the Netherlands. Back in Montreal, he tried to settle into civilian life. He took jobs as a mechanic and later in construction, working with his hands the way he had handled weapons. Leo rarely spoke about the war. When his kids asked about the black eye patch, he would just smile and say, "I lost it doing my job." He never boasted about Zwolle or the Distinguished Conduct Medal he had earned twice. But peace did not sit well with Leo. The excitement of combat was gone. Nightmares of fallen comrades woke him often. The medals on the shelf felt heavy with memories rather than pride. He missed the purpose, the clear enemy, the feeling of protecting others. Life felt too quiet, too ordinary. Friends noticed he was restless. He would spend hours cleaning his old rifle or reading military history books. When people called him a hero, he brushed it off. I just did what needed to be done. In June 1950, everything changed. North Korea invaded South Korea. The United Nations called for help, and Canada answered. At age 29, Leo volunteered again without hesitation. He rejoined the Royal 22nd Regiment, the famous Vendus, a proud French-Canadian unit. Many were surprised. "You've already done your part," they said. "You lost an eye." Leo laughed. "One eye is plenty for shooting." He left his young family behind and shipped out to Korea in early 1951. Korea was a different kind of war. Bitter cold winters, steep hills, and endless trenches. The enemy was the Chinese People's Volunteer Army, hundreds of thousands of soldiers who attacked in human waves, blowing bugles and shouting as they charged. Leo arrived during some of the heaviest fighting. His unit was sent to the front lines near the 38th parallel. The ground was frozen hard, and frostbite was as dangerous as bullets. In November 1951 came the Battle of Hill 355, known to soldiers as Little Gibraltar. It was a key position overlooking UN supply lines. Chinese forces launched a massive night attack and overran the hill, pushing the defenders back. Leo's platoon commander was killed early in the assault. Leadership fell to Leo. Despite a badly sprained ankle from slipping on ice, he took charge. He carried 2 Sten submachine guns, one in each hand, and led the charge up the slope. Chinese soldiers poured fire from trenches. Leo reached the first trench and jumped in, firing both guns. He killed several enemies at close range and kept moving to the next trench. When his ammunition ran low, he picked up fallen Chinese weapons and continued firing. His men, inspired by his fearlessness, followed and pushed forward. Leo cleared trench after trench alone, killing more than 20 enemy soldiers. He threw grenades into bunkers, silenced machine gun nests, and shouted encouragement to his platoon in French. By dawn, the hill was back in UN hands. Leo's uniform was torn, his face blackened with smoke, and his ankle swollen, but he refused medical help until every wounded man was carried down. His actions saved the position and prevented a larger enemy breakthrough. For this incredible feat, Leo was awarded a bar to his Distinguished Conduct Medal, his third. He became the only Canadian and one of only 3 soldiers in the entire British Commonwealth to earn the DCM in 2 different wars. Officers offered him a battlefield commission to become an officer. Leo turned it down. "I'm a soldier, not a gentleman. I fight with my men, not from behind a desk." The rest of his time in Korea was filled with more hard fighting. Leo's unit moved from hill to hill, enduring freezing nights and sudden Chinese attacks. He always volunteered for the most dangerous patrols. Once during a night raid, his group was ambushed. Leo threw a grenade that broke the attack and carried 2 wounded comrades back under fire. Another time, he held a forward position alone for hours until reinforcements arrived, using captured enemy guns when his own ran dry. Leo looked out for his men like a big brother. He shared his rations, helped the new recruits, and never asked them to do anything he wouldn't do himself. French-Canadian soldiers idolized him. English-speaking troops respected his courage. Even when the cold was unbearable and morale was low, Leo kept spirits up with quiet jokes and unbreakable calm. In 1953, a ceasefire ended the fighting. Leo returned to Canada, a living legend once more. Newspapers called him Canada's greatest soldier, but again he wanted no fuss. He went back to Montreal, to Pauline and the children who had grown while he was away. He picked up his old jobs, mechanic, construction worker, and lived quietly. He never attended victory parades or asked for special treatment. In the years that followed, Leo's story slowly spread. Veterans told it in Legion halls. Historians wrote about Zwolle and Hill 355. In 1970, the people of Zwolle invited him back for a hero's welcome. They named a street after him, WWII, and held a big ceremony. Thousands turned out to thank the man who had saved their city 25 years earlier. Leo stood quietly as children gave him flowers and old men shook his hand with tears in their eyes. He told them, "I was just one soldier doing my duty." Back home, his children grew up hearing only bits of the stories. Leo didn't want them to think war was glorious. "It's terrible," he would say. "Never wish for it." He taught them to be strong, honest, and kind. As he grew older, Leo finally allowed some recognition. Documentaries were made. Schools invited him to speak. He always kept it simple. "I fought because someone had to. I was lucky to come home." He visited Zwolle again in later years, walking the streets he had liberated alone. The Dutch never forgot. Every April, on the anniversary of the liberation, they lay flowers at his plaque. Leo Mayor passed away peacefully on October 12, 2008, at the age of 87. His funeral in Montreal was attended by family, old comrades, Dutch diplomats, and Canadian military leaders. The Governor-General sent condolences. Newspapers across Canada and the Netherlands ran long stories about the one-eyed soldier who freed a city and captured a hill against impossible odds. Today, Leo Mayor is remembered as one of Canada's greatest heroes. In Zwolle, school children learn his name. A street, a bridge, and a school bear his name. In Canada, he is studied in history classes as an example of quiet courage. Statues and memorials honor him. Veterans still tell his story around campfires. The private who refused to quit, the man who liberated a city single-handed, the soldier who earned 3 Distinguished Conduct Medals and never bragged. Leo never sought fame. He lived a simple life, loved his family, and helped his neighbors. But when his country called, twice, he answered with everything he had. His life shows what one determined person can achieve: incredible bravery, unbreakable loyalty, and a heart that put others first. Leo Mayor was not a superhero. He was a regular man who did extraordinary things when it mattered most.